I'm very honored to be able to do it and be able to talk about this very important hemisphere, the Western Hemisphere, and this region, because this region matters, and it matters a lot to our national security and our homeland in the United States. I call this our neighborhood, and that resonates with all of our partner nations because we are part of a neighborhood. And to be part of a neighborhood, you've got to be good neighbors. You've got to take care of each other. And that's what we do in the Western Hemisphere. And so what I want to do is just talk to you a little bit about the region, about what U.S. Southern Command does, why this region matters. It matters to national security for our homeland, as I just said. And I believe that we have some competition. And right here on the 20-yard line to our homeland, as I like to say, in the red zone. And we haven't had competition like this before. And we have to do things a little bit differently. And so I want to talk to everybody here about that. But in terms of U.S. Southern Command and this region, so this region for U.S. Southern Command consists of Central America, South America, and the Caribbean. It's 31 countries, 12 dependencies, 850 million people, 8% of the world's population. It's huge. For the Department of Defense, we break down the globe into 6 geographic areas, and this is one of the 6. And certainly there's a lot of activity, but this region is so rich in resources. Our history, our family ties, our culture, our trade, our security, migration, we are inextricably linked to the Western Hemisphere. We are part of the Americas. And this region absolutely matters to the national security of our country. In Southern Command, we have, or I have, 8 subordinate commands. I've got one from every service, which I call component commands, including a Special Operations Command. And then I have 3 joint task forces as well. I have Joint Interagency Task Force South, based out of Key West, Florida. I've got Joint Task Force Gitmo, or Guantanamo Bay, that's in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. And also Joint Task Force Bravo, which is in Soto Cano, Honduras. And so with those commands, not just U.S. Southern Command, but through those 8 subordinate commands, we are in the region every day, working very hard to support our partner nations and support our partner nation militaries and security forces to make them stronger, to be able to have, help with their challenges that they are having internally, but also externally. And so just in terms of the work that we do across the nation, through my lines of effort, my vision, strategy, campaign plan, strengthen partnerships, first and foremost, counter the threats in the region, and then also build our team. And building our team also consists of not just internally, but absolutely externally. Our Secretary of Defense, Austin, talks a lot about integrated deterrence. I think that integrated deterrence, we've actually been doing integrated deterrence for several years in the Western Hemisphere and in this region. We don't get all the resources that we quite need. Nobody ever has all the resources that they would like to have. But we use, and to our ability and best of our ability, the relationships that we have. We leverage, it causes us to, because we don't have all the resources that we need, to reach out and think of innovative ways, other people that we can gain synergy and leverage to be part of team democracy, Team U.S.A., team democracy, and get after the challenges that are in the region. And so, quite honestly, we use not just my component commands, the 8 subordinate commands, but also we are very much involved with the interagency. Very important that we have that link with the interagency. I've got 16 interagency liaison officers that work out of my headquarters at Southcom to help facilitate that and leverage that. Obviously, with the headquarters in Miami, Florida, Doral, Florida, that's a diaspora for the interagency already. It's a diaspora for all of the Consular General Corps right there in Miami. A huge lever, as I call them. And I meet with them frequently and see them at different community events throughout the year. but leveraging their ability to communicate with their countries. I also have foreign liaison officers. I have 15 within United States Southern Command representing our partner nations from the region. JIATF South, just south in Key West, also has a myriad of interagency within that headquarters, as well as foreign liaison officers too. These foreign liaison officers have a direct link to their chiefs of defense. So not only do I have a direct link, but they help me. They're really literally and figuratively like translators, not just translating the language, but actually helping to bridge the gap in terms of maybe communication and helping to explain things further between both of us to make that relationship even better. Academia is really important that we use as a lever in United States Southern Command. And the memorandums of understanding or memorandums of agreement that we use to help with, to counter the threats and things like that. I have a huge program for interns within Southern Command, and that's with Florida International University. We have agreements with University of Miami and other forms of academia, as well as NGOs, that are very, very helpful in countering malign activity, but also exposing some of this malign activity. We don't want to get the credit in the United States Southern Command for exposing things, but we will turn that information over to our partner nation when there are things that aren't quite right that are happening in the region and that go against our partner nations. But all of that working together as part of integrated deterrence and as part of Team USA or Team Democracy. I take both because we have a Team USA team, but then also a Team Democracy, and that's where we're getting after that malign activity and the challenges that we have in the region that our partner nations are dealing with. Just to talk a little bit about that in terms of the malign state actors that we have active and very active in the region. I talked about that we do have competition, and I would say that we are very much in strategic competition in the Western Hemisphere. And with the People's Republic of China, Russia. Third would be transnational criminal organizations that occur in this region. And so certainly with the buildup, the largest military buildup in history on mainland China. And so that is very concerning to me. And then to see the encroachment and to see the tentacles of the PRC into the countries within the Western Hemisphere so close to the United States very much concerns me. And so as I talk again about our neighborhood, I talk about the 20-yard line being in the red zone, the Belt and Road Initiative that has been ongoing for the last over a decade in this region. 21 of 31 countries that have signed on to this Belt and Road Initiative. I could take Argentina last January, the most recent signatory onto the Belt and Road Initiative, and 23 billion in infrastructure projects, that signatory and signing on to that. But again, 21 of 31 countries. There are 25 countries that actually have infrastructure projects by the PRC. 4 that aren't signatories of the BRI, but that do actually have projects within their countries. But not just that, deep water ports in 17 countries. I mean, this is critical infrastructure that's being invested in. I have the most space enabling infrastructure in the Western Hemisphere, in Latin America and the Caribbean. And I just cause question, you know, why? Why is all of this critical infrastructure being invested in so heavily? In terms of telecommunications, 5G, I've got 5 countries with the 5G backbone in this region. I've got 24 countries with the PRC Huawei 3G, 4G. 5 countries have the Huawei backbone infrastructure. If I had to guess, they'll probably be offered a discount to upgrade and stay within the same PRC network. And so very, very concerning as we work with our countries. But our countries have had a hard time. They've really had a hard time in this hemisphere with COVID. And I would say just with the poverty. And the poverty in terms of the residual effects, we have these residual effects in our own country that we see and that we're still dealing with But in Latin America, 107 million was my last figure this past year that I used. Now it's 170 million into poverty in this region alone. It's pretty significant. What I'm starting to see as well is that this economy, the economy impacts to these partner nations is affecting their ability to buy equipment. And as I work with our partner nations and they invest in U.S. equipment, which is the best equipment, I must say. I am a little biased, but it is the best equipment. And they also buy into the supply chain of spare parts and all those kinds of things that help to sustain this piece of equipment over many, many years. So in terms of the investment that they're getting and that equipment to be able to stay operational and the readiness of it is very, very important. But now these partner nations, due to the impacts of their economy, are starting to look at the financing that goes along with it, not necessarily the quality of the equipment, but who has the best finance deal because they can't afford it so much up front. And so that's a big impact. Going back to the investment in infrastructure by the PRC, when we talk to some of our countries and talk to them about the reason why so many are getting the Chinese tenders or why the selection for the PRC, and they said, well, you got to compete. If they're the only ones that are putting in bids when tenders are going out, then you got to be there to compete with the folks who are competing on the tender. So if not even have the investment or competing or put something forward, then you don't have a chance of getting selected. So again, I think we need to take pause and look at this very, very clearly as to what is happening so close to our homeland in our neighborhood. Another perspective that I have, I can fly to about 80% of this AOR in about 2 to 3 hours, very, very quickly. As quickly as it takes me to fly from Miami to DC, I can fly to the top part of South America. So I think we've just lost just how quickly and how close this entire region is. If I talk to my number 2 adversary in the region, Russia, I mean, I've got of course, the countries, Cuba, Venezuela, and Nicaragua with Russia relationships. But what I really look at, and 6 other countries, by the way, so a total of 9 that have Russian equipment in them. And we're working to replace that Russian equipment with United States equipment if those countries want to donate it to Ukraine or the cause that's happening and be able to replace that with U.S. equipment. But is the disinformation and how prevalent it is in the Western Hemisphere. Over 30 million followers with Sputnik Mundo and Russia Today, Espanol. And we see the spikes, especially with upcoming elections and how much is going on with the disinformation. We have it in our own country. But to see it in Latin America and how prevalent it is and how prevalent it is with the younger generation is very concerning. And so we work very hard with our partners to try to strengthen their abilities to counter the disinformation as well. And then, of course, transnational criminal organizations. In my mind, that they sow the insecurity and the instability in the region, which allows the malign state actors such as the PRC and Russia to move in and to flourish. But a $310 billion annual revenue business with the TCOs. In my mind, the insecurity, the instability, causing migration, causing families to be on the move, and it's not just with counter-narcotics, it's not just with drugs, it's with human trafficking. Illegal, unregulated, unreported fishing, IUUF, illegal logging, illegal mining. This region, why this region matters with all of its rich resources and rare earth elements. You've got the lithium triangle, which is needed for technology today. 60% of the world's lithium is in the lithium triangle, Argentina, Bolivia, Chile. You just have the largest oil reserves, light sweet crude, discovered off of Guyana over a year ago. You have Venezuela's resources as well with oil, copper, gold. China gets 36% of its food source from this region. We have the Amazon, lungs of the world. We have 31% of the world's fresh water in this region too. I mean, it's just off the charts. But then when you talk about trade is unbelievable. The trade in the region, you know, I talked about all the ties that we have with this hemisphere. But the PRC and a lot of our countries in this region is the #1 trade partner, with the United States #2 in most cases, not in most cases, I would say in some cases. However, to see the increase in investment in trade from 2002 from China, 18 billion, up to 450 billion now, and on its way what is predicted to be about 750 billion in the near future. And so I think we have a lot at stake. We have a lot to be grateful for in terms of the relationships with our partner nations and our hemisphere that we're part of, and in the Americas. But we have a lot to do. This region matters. It has a lot to do with national security, and we need to step up our game. And we need to be faster, and we need to work and deliver capabilities at the speed of relevance for this region.